Hi there, and welcome back to the third video in the series of Coding Basics with Scratch. My name's James Caldwell from Faith Christian School of Distance Education in Queensland. In the last two videos, I showed you how to install Scratch and also the basic layout of Scratch. In this video, we're actually going to start coding, and here's what we're going to code. We're going to code our cat jumping. Now, making a cat jump may seem fairly simple, but there are some very important coding concepts in this code. So, open Scratch and we'll start coding. This flowchart shows the algorithm of our code. Basically, an algorithm is a sequence of steps to complete a task. This algorithm has an event to start it all off, which is when the space key is pressed. I want my sprite to go to the middle of the screen, and I will explain these X and Y numbers soon. Following the arrow, I want my sprite to change its costume to costume 2, so it looks like it's jumping. Following the arrow down, I want the sprite to glide to X0 and Y120. That's a different position on the screen. And then, following the arrow down, I want my sprite to glide to its start position again, X0 and Y0, and then change its costume back to costume 1, and then that's the end of my algorithm. Remembering, an algorithm is just a sequence of steps, and in this case, I've done a little flowchart to show that. Alright, in Scratch, when you code, you will need to know where your sprite is on the screen, where you want it to go on the screen, or where you want it to start and finish on the screen. To do this, we use X, Y coordinates. Now, an easy way for me to explain this is with an XY coordinate background. So if you follow me down to backgrounds, and you click on the little background plus, we get a whole lot of backdrops to choose from, but the one we want is right down the bottom, third from the end, XY grid. When you click on it, it'll appear, and I'm going to enlarge it, and you can see that we have what's called a Cartesian plane. If you don't know about the Cartesian plane, I just want you to know that when we talk about a sprite moving from left to right, we are talking about it moving on the x-axis, and that x-axis can go from negative 240 to 240. And when we're talking about our sprite's movement up and down, we're talking about the y-axis, from y180 all the way down to y negative 180. So if you've come across a Cartesian plane before, the position of your sprite will be quite obvious from this. But if you have never come across the Cartesian plane, don't worry. As we code, things will become a little bit more obvious. Alright, let's go back now. So you'll remember from our flowchart that we needed an event to start our code. To get that event, we're going to come over to Events category, and we got all our events blocks. I'm going to choose the second one down, when space key pressed. I'm going to drag it out, and we've got our event to start our code. This means when we press the space key, our code will start. The next block in our algorithm will make sure that the sprite always goes to the center position on our stage, even if it gets moved. So we are going to go up to Motion, and we're going to grab the Go to XY block. And I'm going to join it on there. Now from this, you'll notice that whenever I move my sprite somewhere on the stage, all I have to do is press the space key and the sprite will go back to the middle. From here, I want to change my sprite's costume. Just have a look up in the Costumes tab, and you'll notice that this cat has two costumes. The second costume makes it look like it's about to jump up. So let's go up to our code. We'll go down to the Looks category. We'll grab Switch Costume to Costume 2, which is the fifth block down, and we'll drag it out. There it is. The next thing we want our sprite to do is to glide to the top of its jump position. That's another motion. To do that, I'm going to take this 7th block down, which is glide 1 seconds to x0 and y0. As I'm going to actually move my cat to where I want it to jump up to. And what you'll notice is that the x and y value in the block changed. Alright, so I'm going to actually drag that out. Now, there's an important point here to remember. In coding, always move your sprite on the stage to where you want it to go, then grab the block out. That way, the coordinates will already be in the block. And you can change them around if you want. For example, I want my cat to stay in the dead middle of the screen. So I'm going to click on that -6 and I'm going to change it to 0. Alright, the next thing I want is for my cat to glide back to the center of the screen. I could grab another glide block, but what I'm going to do is right click this glide block and go duplicate. See, now I can move it wherever I want. I'm going to join it onto the bottom there. And I'm going to change the Y170, which by the way is where the cat is up to there. I'm going to change that to 0. Now what you'll notice is at the start we had the 0, 0. And here we've got the 0, 0 on the X and Y. So the cat will go back to the start. Now there's one last thing I want to do to complete my algorithm. And I want to go to Looks. And I want to change the costume back to costume 1. So I grab Switch Costume, drag it out, click on the little arrow, and choose costume 1. And you know what? That's completed our sequence of steps to make the cat jump. So to get this started, the event is press the space key. So if I do that, my cat jumps. And because the algorithm ends at switch costume to 1, I have to keep pressing the space key to make it jump. With that in mind, that's the end of this video. But we're going to build on this code in the next video. So I want you to save it. And we do that by going up to File, click on Save to your computer, and I'm going to save mine under Documents. I'm going to write the name in there. I'm going to call this one Jump. And I'm going to save. And now it is saved. Congratulations, you finished your first bit of code in Scratch and you made your cat jump. Make sure you save this code because like I said, we're going to be working on it in the next video. So until then, have a great day. Happy coding.